Hello and welcome to the build-up from RamsTV. This is the show that gives you everything you need to know before the big game kicks off. Tonight, Derby County are in East London for a rearranged FA Cup third round tie against Leyton Orient. And the winners know they'll host Manchester City in round 4. The Rams and the O's have met in the FA Cup before. Derby were knocked out at Brisbane Road in the 4th round in 1963 and needed a replay to get past Orient back in January of 75. It had been getting on for 40 years since these clubs had faced each other, until last season, that is. Derby were 3-0 winners on that occasion, the home side having a man sent off as Louis Sibley, Nathaniel Mendes-Lang and Tom Barkhazen all scored for the Rams. Tonight they'll find the home side in sparkling form. Orient have won 9 of the last 10 matches. They've only conceded a measly 3 goals in that run, which also included 6 clean sheets in a row in the league at one stage. All of that has taken them into the thick of the playoff chase. It's been a couple of years since Derby last entered the FA Cup at the third round stage, losing at Coventry in 2022. The following season saw them reach the 4th round. They beat Torquay, Newport and Barnsley before being dispatched by Premier League West Ham. Last season they were upset by lower league opposition in the form of League 2 Crewe in a replay at Pride Park. No chance of that this season. Replays have been scrapped from the first round onwards, which means we'll have extra time and penalties if required in East London this evening. Well, this wasn't the only game that fell foul of the weather at the weekend. 2 other rearranged third round ties tonight at Field Mill and at Deepdale. The draw for the 4th round has already taken place. We'll show you a few notable games from that later. But there's no doubt about the most intriguing 4th round tie. Either Leyton Orient or Derby County will host Manchester City in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Now, Callum Elder has some history with Man City in this competition. He'll tell you about that in a moment. First, here's the Derby defender on how he and his teammates found out that Saturday's game at Brisbane Road had been postponed.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock, really. We just finished sort of one of our meals on match day, and then I hadn't seen that there was a pitch inspection, so we were waiting around in the hotel, and then out of nowhere we had a message come through to say that the game was off and we'd be travelling back to Derby. So the weather's obviously quite harsh at the minute with some of the temperatures, so I guess these things happen at this time of year. So we came back to Derby, and we go again today to prepare for a big game tomorrow night that will look to progress in a big competition.
How disruptive is a postponement like that? Because I know how meticulous the work is to prepare you for a match day, and then that match day doesn't happen. So how does that change sort of the physical challenges, the loads that you guys go through?
Well, it's obviously it's at the end of a preparation week where you play the game, and then that doesn't happen, so you sort of have to quickly readjust your thinking. We had yesterday off, and we've come back in this morning, and we'll sort of re-prepare for the game, and we'll touch over the same sort of plans that we were looking to impose for the game tomorrow night. So of course it is a disruption, but in sort of this industry you have to be prepared for things that can sort of alter your planning. So everyone's excited to go again back down tomorrow night. It'll be a good game. They're a tough side, so we're full focus for the fixture tomorrow.
We always ask players about their FA Cup memories and what the competition means to them. Are things a bit different for you, given I think you didn't come over till you were 16 maybe?
Yeah, obviously lots of kids in England will grow up with FA Cup memories. Funny you said that with sort of the news that we had yesterday about the draw. I've been lucky enough to experience my own FA Cup memories through playing. Probably one of the best days of my career was beating Man City when I was on loan at Wigan. So without talking too much, because we've got a massive game tomorrow night to get through to play that tie if we're lucky. One of the best days of my career was beating the team that hopefully we'll be playing in the next round. So it's a magical competition. It sets up sort of moments like this. It can inspire clubs, communities, young kids that are playing in the area to play against the biggest players in the country. So it's a massive tie that the winner of our game tomorrow night we'll play. So we're fully focused that we need to go down and do the job tomorrow night.
I think I'm right in saying you scored earlier in that cup run as well, didn't you, on loan at Wigan? Yeah,
I think it was the tie before. We played Bournemouth away and we got a replay and we beat Bournemouth back at home and scored my first goal for Wigan. So it was a sort of magical run. We took down 3 Premier League teams. We beat West Ham as well. So it's a special competition. It allows clubs in leagues below the Premier League to play against big clubs, and I was lucky to do so. But we know tomorrow night's going to be a tough game. They're in form. They're a good side. They've got good players, but so do we, and we'll go into that game with confidence that we can progress into the next round.
Some will look at it and seeing the draw and think that means there's extra motivation, but you guys are professionals, right? So it probably doesn't change a lot for you?
No, not particularly. We were going down originally before the next round of the draw was made to go and win the game and progress. The FA Cup is a massive game, but for us it's another game, and as Derby players we want to win every football match we go into. So Saturday was no different, and tomorrow will be no different. So we're excited for the fixture tomorrow night. It's a sort of chance to get back on a winning run, that we're looking to do, and we'll go in with confidence that we can do that tomorrow.
Now that's Callum Elder, who has an interesting connection to the Leyton Orient boss Richie Wellens. Elder used to clean Wellens' boots when Elder was coming through as an apprentice at Leicester City. Well, Wellens and his side are in fantastic form at the moment. He's just been named Manager of the Month in League One for December after their run that see them on to the edge of the League One playoff places. The boss, though, still glad of a bit of a breather ahead of FA Cup third round weekend.
The rest was needed, so we give the players till Wednesday off, just because, the legs, the fatigue. Obviously, we've got a few injuries at the moment. The lads that needed it coming on a Tuesday, so I think the players enjoy just having a few days off, spending time with the family, and obviously train today and regroup and find the legs again and prepare for Derby.
When you have been through a grueling schedule like that, how nice is it to go through it with a record like we ended it with?
Well, it's nice. It's just it's also frustrating the fact that when you get to it, you know the risk before you start, but we haven't got that luxury of change. You look at some of the bigger clubs in this league; they've changed a lot of personnel over the period, and they come out of it with a good points return, but mixing the game time up for the players, and they come out with a fully fit squad. Whereas we've probably picked up now probably 4 or 5 injuries, which is not great, but it gives other players an opportunity, and other players will be stepping on Saturday to try and take that opportunity.
How good is it that we can... We've obviously had this great run of form in the league, but now we've got an opportunity to test ourselves against a club who, albeit we played last year, but in the division above.
Yeah, I think when the draw was made, it wasn't an attractive tie, if you like, for a lot of our supporters, but because we played Derby last season. But you have to look at, it's a brilliant football club. Historically, it's one of the best football clubs in the country. For me, it's bigger than some of the Premier League clubs, so he's striving to get back there. But it's a brilliant football club, good tie, one of the traditional football teams in England, and a game that we'll be trying to win.
They were a really solid team when we played them last year. Have they changed much this year?
Not much, but if you're Derby in League One, you're expected to win every week. As soon as them players go up to the Championship, they're not the best players in the league no more. So I think they found it a lot tougher. But I think over the coming year, next few transfer windows, we'll be looking to improve, because I think historically Derby should be a team that whenever it does come down to the Championship, it is looking to get straight back into the Premier League. So brilliant football club, brilliant supporter base, and like I say, it's a difficult team for us to play against.
Orient boss Richie Wellens there, speaking before the draw for the FA Cup fourth round was made. We spoke to Liam Thompson ahead of the weekend as well. It's 4 years since Tomo made his Derby County debut in the FA Cup, a strange one away at non-league Chorley.
It was something about then, a bit of a weird one really. Obviously during COVID, so all the young boys had to play, which was good. But it was a tough game on the day. Conditions were bad, I remember. But obviously it was nice to make your debut. Bit of a weird way to make your debut, but it was nice, but disappointing result.
I was going to say, it's probably not quite the circumstances that you dream of making your debut in, was it?
No, it was something unheard of, really, weren't it? You know, didn't expect to be thrown in. None of the lads expected it. I don't even think the coach at the time did. You know, was training in different facilities. I remember, I think we trained at a school or something. I can't remember exactly. But the circumstances were weird. But it was good for us and good for the development, really. So yeah.
When you look back on it, was it a big step for you, that first appearance, that debut?
Yeah, I'd say so. In terms of who we were playing against and Chorley, you know, non-league team, we went into it knowing it would be a tough game because of the conditions. You know, it levels it out, and it was that was my first team experience, I'd say. So yeah, I learnt a lot from that day, definitely.
And your first senior goal came in the FA Cup against Torquay a couple of years ago as well. Not a bad goal from what I remember.
Yeah, left foot, I remember. Yeah, that was a really proud moment, and it was a good moment when I remember.
Is this a competition that you've always sort of looked on the calendar for, the FA Cup?
Yeah, 100%. I think everyone does. It's another game, you know, a chance to play against some big teams. And it's a great cup to be involved in. Obviously, it's famous for that. It's famous for upsets and all of that. So yeah, it's something myself and I'm sure the lads look at and all excited to get going and see what we can do.
I know all of us off camera in the room feel a little bit strange this week because after the intensity of the Christmas period, having a week between games has sort of felt like quite a long time. Have you been glad of the break?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've needed it. It's been a tough month. You know, we've obviously not got the results. So I think another game in the FA Cup is a game we want to win. We need a performance to go into the next league game at Pride Park against Watford. So it's important that we, you know, sort of put things right in this game, and it'll be a tough game. You know, they're in excellent form at the minute, aren't they? And so it'll be a tough game.
I know you've been disappointed with the results, but you must have been pleased on a personal level with how many minutes you've had since coming back from injury.
Yeah, really pleased. You know, it's obviously a step up from League One last year, and I knew it was going to be tough, but really pleased with my involvement so far. You know, it's tough with the midfield, well, every position, but especially midfield at the minute. You know, I know players are injured at the minute. David's got to come back, and the squad depth big this year. So everyone's fighting, but happy with my contribution and just want to keep adding to that.
That's Derby midfielder Liam Thompson. Before we go, let's take a look at the pick of the ties from the FA Cup fourth round draw. Exeter rewarded for beating Oxford with a home tie against Nottingham Forest. Plymouth will welcome Liverpool to Home Park. It's a trip to League Two Doncaster for Crystal Palace. And there's going to be lower league outings for Newcastle, Ipswich and Fulham as well. And for either Leyton Orient or Derby County, a home tie against Manchester City in the fourth round. Well, this has been the build-up from RamsTV. Unfortunately, you can't watch tonight's game with us, but audio subscribers can listen on the website. That's dcfc.co.uk, of course, and there'll be reaction there after the game as well. But from us for now, goodbye.